Hi, this is Micornus, the leader and the founder of Church Governance Solutions. We are dealing with internal challenges in established churches, challenges in established churches. And we're dealing with those so that we warn you, so that we make you aware, so that you can actually be able to sort out those or to even avoid them before they come in. And because this is very important to do so. The first challenge that I want us to look at today, which is of internal nature in established churches, is divided interests and selfish agendas in church. The divided interest and also what we call selfish agendas in a church. Now, this can be different agendas, interests, or ambitions of the people that are in the church. And sometimes it starts with the leadership, whereby you're having some leaders that are having their own interest in the very same vision that we are all carrying on. And we have seen this happening a bit more frequently, whereby you'll find people that are in someone's church with the intention of supporting, of course. They want to support, and they show to be supporting, but they've got the wrong intentions. They've got their own agendas. They want to climb the ladder through somebody. They want to climb the ladder through somebody's church, whereby they want to expose themselves through somebody's church or somebody's platform, and for wrong reasons, of course. We have seen some of the young assistant pastors in churches, whereby they would expose themselves to the pulpit or the platform of an elderly person's church. And after exposing themselves, they will break out and even take the members from the very same church and take them away and go with them and establish their own churches. We have seen this happening, and I'm bringing it up because it's a challenge that is there in established churches, whereby some of the leaders of the church, pastors, would be like an elderly people, of course, and they giving over to the young people and say, because you've got an energy, you've got strength, please run the church, and while the elderly person is sitting down, which is a great thing, of course, to do. But sometimes because of nefarious reasons and some wrong intentions and agendas from the very same young people, as I said, they sabotage the church and they walk out of the church and take all the members and go and establish churches of their own somewhere and ignore the old man sitting there and leaving him with an empty church. We've seen that happening. And I want us to be aware of these things and be careful that we don't fall into these pitfalls, because this is very, very important that if it's a church that we want to be sustained, let's work together. If you are a young man, you're supporting an elderly person, please support with good intentions. Please support with a good heart, because if you are a child of God really, if you are born again, you are a Christian and not an unbeliever, you will be able to enter there with a good intentions. But we know that there are people with wrong intentions, people that are having their own agendas in different churches. And because of that, then they will divide the church. They will make the church to be having cliques and groups. And we have seen that in that regard, many of the church members commit to certain powerful individuals in the church. And then the church gets divided. It gets to have feuds of people, feuds amongst the people, conflicts amongst the people. And because the people are now in different groupings and they have divided, they don't run things the same way and they don't see things the same way as well. And this, of course, we have seen happening in many churches, and I want to warn the churches, particularly those that are established with this type of a spirit. Now, we're having also another challenge, which is misappropriation of funds and mismanagement of money. And this is one major problem. And it has happened all over again and over again in churches, and it's more because of greediness. And people are greedy. And in money, everybody want to actually siphon money into their own pockets. Now, when we speak about mismanagement of money, it is not only that people want to take money into their own pockets. And I want us to be careful of this as well, that we must understand that there are times when people just mismanage money with a good intention of saying, we are running the church properly. For an example, we have in churches today that rents buildings or venues with very, very expensive money. Very, very expensive. And they will get into a certain building that will need 60,000 rands per month. And they will go and rent the building while they're having very less membership. A building of a capacity of 3,000 members, and you are only about 200 members, and you're renting such a big building, and you are paying exorbitant amounts, 60,000 rands, which might be a money that you could be saving and using for something else. Now, we always advise as Church Governance Solutions that when you are growing as a church, be patient with yourself. Build slowly. Let us take step by step. Let us be in a smaller venue that caters us all. And until we have members that are actually overgrowing that structure, let us go to the next structure. And then the next structure that is bigger than this one, and let us continue in it until we fill up the place. And then the next step is to go to a bigger structure. So those are what we call step-by-step growth of a church. We cannot rush and rent a structure that is 3,000 capacity members while we still 200 members ourselves, because that's waste of money, and we are not actually managing the resources of the church appropriately, and that is squandering the finances. And that is an example that we can give, that there are those also that are renting forever instead of looking for a land. Particularly, we have seen churches that are based in a village, but yet they continue renting while it is easier to get a stand in a village whereby you can get it cheaply from a chief next door. But we are forever renting in places and inexpensive places forever. And that is what we call mismanagement of funds. The other ways of mismanaging funds is actually distributing the funds amongst the members that is not necessary, because members, remember, as they are members, they are coming there to attend the church, and there are sometimes whereby we actually paying people like for playing keyboards, we paying people for playing drums, and for instance, and those are the type of things that we do while we're having people that are members of the church that can play those instruments voluntarily. And these are type of things. Then, therefore, you go and rent out people or hire people to come and play the instruments while you're having your own people that you think that they're not too good. Remember that if you're going to allow your own people to learn and develop, they're going to be perfect as well. So be patient with them while they are learning and developing. And because the more you hire people from outside to come and play instrument, you're blocking the very same people in the church from learning, because they will rely and become so much reliant to the people that are coming from outside while they're not learning at the same time. There are many ways whereby monies are being squandered and not managed properly. But I want to emphasize also that we must remember that church money is a public money. So therefore, it must be respected, it must be honored, and it must be done in a way that, used in a way that is highly respected as well. And we must always be careful of how we spend the money so that we can be able to use the money appropriately, because, as I said, it's a public funds and we must actually treat them that way. So let's make sure that we don't misappropriate money. We use the money more carefully, and we become very, very resourceful about using the finances of the church, and with the mind of remembering that we are actually using this as a public money, and therefore it must be handled that way. Now, I want to also bring about this challenge that is very common in established churches, and this is the challenge of resisting worthwhile change and innovations. And this is particularly in established churches, because we've been doing things the same way. We've been doing things this kind of a way, so therefore we are not ready to change. There's no innovation that we'll bring in. A good example of this we have seen churches that have been well established for a very long time. Now there we come at an era of social media, whereby the gospel can be shared on Facebook Live, You can actually establish your own YouTube channel as a church whereby people can be exposed to what is happening in this church. People can learn from the teachings that you would actually be teaching in this particular church through Facebook, through YouTube, through Instagram, and all the social media platforms that are actually giving us opportunity to share the gospel out to the world. But there are those established churches that will see this as demonic attempts, because they will actually even criticize the social media and say this is a demonic platform. And we have seen churches like that, and they've never moved even an inch, whereby some have got instruments, have got all the resources that God has given them, cameras, they've got computers and so on, that they could actually broadcast the same messages of their services. They may broadcast their prayer meetings, they may broadcast their Sunday services, their conferences as well, out there through the social media, but they don't believe in a social media platform because they feel that is demonic. And that is what we call resisting worthwhile change and innovations. They don't want to develop, they don't want to innovate, they don't want to be part of innovations at all. So they are used to the old style of doing things, and they want to remain the same every day. And these are challenges, and we've seen those challenges are more common in these established churches, and they don't want to change at all. And sometimes the elderly people, as advised by the younger people, they will actually ridicule the younger people and say, you are bringing demons in our church. And therefore, we don't allow that. And the young people get discouraged, and they cannot continue with innovation anymore, or suggestion of innovation, because they're being shut down when they are giving ideas and innovations as a result. The last challenge that we want to deal with today as we close this topic is using church constitution and bylaws to scatter things. We have seen people using church constitutions and the bylaws to scatter things in the church, whereby they're destroying the church, they're destroying things, just raising the constitution and say, because the constitution says this. And I'm not going to emphasize this that much. I want to end up right here and say, you have listened to us, you have heard what we've talked about, and I hope that you've learned quite a bit out of this topic. Your host, Micornus, Phokane, founder, leader of Church Governance Solutions. I hope you've learned out of this, and you'll go to our Facebook page, Church Governance Solutions, Micornus, Phokane, and you will click notification buttons there. You'll like those pages, and make sure that also you visit our YouTube channel, and make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel and be part of it, because we have got a lot of materials that we have already posted in the YouTube channel. So please go through those, learn out of them as well, and we know that your church will be safe. May the good Lord bless you, and we want to check out right here and say thank you very much for listening to us and for being part of this. And may the good Lord bless you, and cheers for now.